But... Leave me alone, Steve, or I'll tell Mom on you.
Steve, are you talking to me?
Yeah, only I don't want to be, because I'm trying to watch my cowboy show.
I'm sorry. Look, I'm telling you, I need your help. I've lost my memory.
Have not. Cut it out.
I'm telling you the truth.
You always were a kidder, Steve. Leave me alone. I'm sick.
What's wrong with you?
I got a headache and a stomachache.
Then why aren't you in bed?
'Cause I want to watch my cowboy show.
You look all right to me.
I'm not faking. I couldn't go to school because I'm sick. Daddy's sick in bed too. And Mom believes me anyway. So shut up.
Have you noticed that your show is in black and white?
What else? Color? On a TV?
Well, I think I've seen a colored television before.
Have not. Quit it or I'm gonna tell.
Hey, look at that. Your mother lets you watch this stuff?
Sure. This is part of history. What made America great. And besides, blood and guts are needed. I'm glad you're catching on, Steve. You're not too bad for a lousy rat.
Your dad is asleep?
He and Mom went at it last night pretty hard. He stayed in bed. I saw what she did to him. It was pretty bad.
What did she...
Like you don't know. I saw you and her on the couch last Wednesday night. Guess that's why she's grounded now, huh? Too bad you wouldn't pay me and I had to tell, huh?
What are you talking about? What girl?
What? Is there another one too? Wait till I tell.
I don't know what girl you're talking about.
All summer, it's been Stephanie this and Stephanie that. And now you don't remember? You think I'm dumb or something?
No, I just can't remember anything, like I said.
Well, you better remember quick, 'cause the wedding's in 2 weeks.
What?
Leave me alone so I can watch TV. I said I don't want to talk about her anymore. Good. Finally.
Well, hello there. How about some cookies? There's plenty of rejects in the trash.
Who are you?
That's a fine way to talk to your mother.
You're my mother?
That's right, though sometimes I get treated like the hired help around here.
I don't remember you.
Of course you don't, until you need your socks washed.
No, you don't understand. I can't remember where I am or even who I am.
Land's sake, stop your joshing, won't you? Honestly, Steve, I thought you'd grow up a little after graduation. I only hope that new job will plant your feet on the ground.
So that's my name. Steve.
Your name will be M.U.D. Mud if you don't stop teasing me, young man.
Listen, this may sound strange, but I've lost my memory. Do you believe me?
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I'm serious.
Sure, and next you'll be telling me you don't remember Hank and your little sister.
Sister?
Shh, you'll wake her. I just put her down to sleep. If she wakes up, she'll just want to eat again. Darn it, I'm busy, and if you think I'm going to play along with this nonsense, you're crazier than Sparky down at the firehouse.
Fine. Maybe I am crazy. I can't rule that out. Why can't you just help me a little? Is that too much to ask?
Now you've done it. Are you happy? Poor baby. There. Did your brother scare you? Let me see. Darn that wasp woman. She's a monster, that's what she is.
Wasp woman?
Tetsuya Crumb is going to hear about this. I want you to go to her house right now and give her a piece of my mind.
I don't know where she lives.
Honestly, you can't miss a house covered with paper nests. Steve, you tell her to mind her own beeswax, or by golly, I'll take it up with the PTA. Or the lodge.
What lodge?
The Hall of the Order of the Harvest Moon, Steve. It's just the finest place in Harvest, and the most exclusive.
What's so great about it?
Hard to say, since hardly anyone gets inside. But it wouldn't be so exclusive if it wasn't just wonderful. Just like the new Reynolds dishwasher with their patented auto-dry process, TM. I've never used one, but I know I want it. Instead of sulking around the house all day, why not walk over to the lodge and apply for membership? Don't be so hasty, Steve. I think you'll find Harvest is a pretty dull place without the lodge.
You sound like the membership director.
Don't be silly. I just want what's best for you, that's all. Harvest is a town unlike any you've ever known.
In what way?
I don't have time to go into it now. Why not take a walk around town and pester someone else? I'm busy. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets. Stop speaking nonsense, dear. What a thing to say to your mother. Was that an invitation now that your father is out of action? Maybe later, dear. Right now I have housework to do. Though you can watch if you want. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
Hey, Steve, I'm Jimmy James. Remember me?
I guess not.
Hey, how come you haven't been putting the paper out for me in the morning? Well, I don't, you selfish punk. How'd you expect a working Joe to make an honest living? You don't put the paper out, I'm out of a job.
So what? You don't get paid for picking up papers anyway.
The Sentinel building burnt down. What the heck else am I supposed to do? Listen, start putting that paper out and everything will be Jake, okay? That's all I want. That and a pair of sneakers. Walking this route every day has worn holes in mine. Say, you got any spare sneakers? Oh, gee whiz. Look, if you find any, I'd be willing to trade you for them. Something really neato. Think about it. See you later, alligator. See you later, alligator.
initiates may enter the Hall of the Order of the Harvest Moon.
Did you say something?
I did not speak, but my mind touched yours.
Telepathy? But how?
Only those who seek enlightenment warrant my attention. Do you hunger for true knowledge? Forbidden knowledge, the forgotten pleasures, and pleasures as yet undiscovered. But such is not for the likes of you. Not yet. You must first fill out an application to be considered for initiation into the mysteries. Applications are available at the post office. Postmaster Boyle disseminates them to the uninitiated. I do not sully my hands.
Then I just fill it out and return it to you, or what?
You may find it difficult to obtain an application. You will no doubt need to find some way to persuade Postmaster Boyle to give you one in the middle of the month, as it is against his rules. When you do, however, bring it to me, and if you are worthy, you will be put to the test.
Yes?
I need some help, Mr.
Postmaster Boyle, what can I do for you today? Sorry, youngster, we're out of applications right now.
Come on, you must have one around here somewhere.
Well, I do have the master, but you can't write on that, and I only make copies once a month, on the button, regular as clockwork. It's not the effort, son. It's the principle. We must adhere to our standards. They're all that stand between civilization and chaos. I'm sorry, you'll just have to come back in a month, same as anyone else. And even then, I can't guarantee you'll get an application. The line is always long, and there are never enough to go around.
It's very important that I get in quickly.
That's what they all say. Postmaster Boyle, I'll just die if I don't get into the lodge. I can't make an exception, young man. It just wouldn't be right. Next time you post, don't forget the zip code.
Yeah. Howdy back, Mr.
Pete swell, Steve. Don't you pull my old leg now. Change your mind about that aluminum siding?
What are you talking about?
I really think you should talk your father into buying some. He can afford it. And I can't stress enough the value of some really fine aluminum siding. Keeps it warm in the summer, cool in the winter, and it keeps out the sheep. Pastorelli ought to look into some, but I can't get him to understand a word I say. Can't understand why Pastorelli keeps that nasty thing in here. Must remind him of the pastures in Italy. Kinda like why I keep wrenches under my pillow, so as I can dream about plumbing. Well, I seen the end coming for the aluminum siding game, so I took a mail course and learned how to be a plumber. Now, there's a business that never lets up. You'd be surprised what people flush down the toilet. Pastorelli's a rube from way back. Ask Clem Parsons how he followed up with the alarm system in here. I'm a plumber. I could fix it for him, but he just won't listen. Nice to see you again, Steve.
Hello there, youngster. They say them aliens I was telling you about, well, they came back last night. Cut another crop circle in my south field.
How come I never seen none of them saucers, Clem?
Them aliens is wily, Pete. You don't cross the intergalactic void without learning a trick or two. You know what Pastorelli did? Yesterday, he gets an alarm system to protect his pole. Only he don't know how to rig it, so now it's all awry. Pastorelli shelled out for an alarm system all right, but he's too cheap to hire an electrician to hook her up. Dang idiot cross-wired it through the fire sprinkler, so now when the alarm goes off, it sets the sprinkler spraying. Tarnation! Aliens looking for intelligent life ought to stay away from this shop, sure enough. Well, son, the ways of the alien is a specialized area of woodcraft unknown to all but the wiliest sportsmen. What you gotta remember is, your average alien is smarter than your average human, so you gotta be extra careful building your blind if you want to bag one.
You hunt aliens.
Son, after nailing an alien, you can never go back to quail. What, you think you can get one of those at a swap meet? Line your blind with lead to fool their sensing machines. Lay real quiet and wait. Preferably in the woods around the nuclear base. Oh, they love messing around out there.
Why not wait outside your field, Clem? Wait for 'em to come a-carving.
Oh, they do their crop doodles with zap guns, you darn fool. Don't you know nothing? Besides, ain't no place to put the blind out in the field. Now, you listen to Clem Parsons if you want to tag an unearthly being. They cross the void, wondering what lies beyond, all the time not knowing that what awaits them is buckshot. The Pastorelli's a funny sort. Foreigner, don't you know. He cuts hair pretty good, but he don't know spit about nothing else. You just ask him to hook up an alarm system if you need convincing. Anytime, Steve.
Can I help you, dear?
Who are you?
This is Phelps General Store, so who would that make me? Maybe you need to go back to Gein Memorial and have Miss Whaley teach you about logic.
I'm fuzzy on a lot of things these days. My memory's gone.
Pshaw, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I'm serious, I need some help.
Well, they say a sharp blow to the head is a good thing for amnesia, in which case I'd recommend Miss Whaley again. Then again, they say a good scare can jog the memory, in which case I'd advise you to visit the Sergeant at Arms over at the lodge. That man gives me the willies. Speaking of willies, how's your father?
Don't know.
My so-called mother keeps him locked in his room, and I can't get in.
Care to buy anything today? Just point to whatever you want. I'm a little hard of hearing. A girly magazine? Why, Steve, I'm surprised at you. I'd expect that sort of thing from Deputy Loomis, but never from you. He's always coming in here oogling the girly magazines behind my counter. Darned if I'd sell him one, though. I know his wife, for heaven's sakes.
Well, will you sell me one?
I certainly will, Steve. That kind of interest is healthy for a young fellow. Steers him away from being a fireman.
Well, that didn't work.
Halt! Who goes there?
They tell me my name is Steve.
All right. This is Section 21. Keep your distance, son. I wouldn't want to have to blow your head off.
That makes two of us.
So you're the amnesiac, huh? Just another draft-dodging ploy the way I see it. But at least you're not an alien. You see their ships every now and then. Sometimes Swell bags one in the woods.
Who are you?
Colonel Buster Monroe, commander of the Harvest Nuclear Missile Installation, keeping America safe from those who would dye our flag red, white, and pink.
These are nuclear missiles?
Goddamn right they are. Every one of them ready to rain death on the Ruskies. All I gotta do is hit the button and blammo! The price of vodka goes through the roof. Along with the vodka.
Well, I suppose you have, you know, safeguards against accidents?
Safeguards? Don't be such a weak sister. There are no safeguards. This is the 50s.
Then you have sole control of the, missiles.
That's right. Been in charge here since WW2, when I got my lower torso shot off in the war. Those pantywaists in Washington wanted to stick me behind a desk. To hell with that. They owed me. I left my legs in Dusseldorf. They owed me. Of course, they felt that after the trauma of having to crawl from Germany to England trailing my intestines behind me, I was too emotionally unstable to continue in the military. That's why they gave me this nice cushy job and put me in charge of the nuclear missiles.
You say before you came to Harvest, your lower torso was shot off in the war?
That's right. I was behind enemy lines. The night was dark, the rain wet. The plastique I was supposed to rig the bridge with precariously sandwiched between my knees as I crawled in the muddy mud. I didn't see the Jerry taking aim at me with his machine gun until half of me was flying through the air. With a quick spray of bullets in a straight line, it shot my body clean in two. My lower body landed at that Jerry's feet. I can still hear him, laughing as I started crawling in the general direction of England, calling behind me in broken English,
"Mein Freund, where is your legs? Looky, what have we here? Some legs? Hey, did anyone lose some legs?"
I'll never forget looking back over my shoulder and seeing that crowd doing the can-can with my legs. Still a few weeks later, with only my compass and a pair of nylons, I made it back to safety. Now the Krauts are our friends and the commie bastards are our enemies. But even so, there's at least one crowd out there that I'll never invite over to Sunday dinner. Frankly, all these questions are making me a little suspicious of you. Maybe you're one of those pink-blooded Americans. Can you give me any reason why I shouldn't shoot you right now? I appreciate your honesty, comrade. Oh!
That...
So...
Who... The...
Goddamn...
Well...
Safeguards? Don't be such a weak sister. There are no safeguards. This is the 50s.
Then... you have sole control of the, missiles.
That's right. Been in charge here since WW2. When I got my... Those pantywaists in Washington wanted to stick me behind a desk.
You say...
That's... I'll never forget, look. Frankly, all these... Can you give me any reason why... Right, huh? You talk a good game, mister. But so does your average commie bastard. The Kremlin teaches its agents to talk their way out of a scrape. What do you think about that, son? Glad to hear it, son. You had me going there for a minute, asking all those questions about this base. Came this close to getting blown away. As it is, maybe you want to get out of here before I change my mind. Go visit those Ponzi firemen. But whatever you do, stay away from that damn lodge. That's the most suspicious place in Harvest, if you ask me. Harvest is a fine town, steeped in traditional American values. But that lodge... Well, it makes me suspicious, don't mind saying it. They've got their fingers into everything around here. Like a certain red commie bastard menace which shall be nameless. You read me wrong, mister. I think you should join the lodge, infiltrate it, and report back on any red sympathizers. Your report could affect my decision on what I've got to do. Remember, duck and cover.
There he is, my future son-in-law. And how's he doing today? What brings him to the Potsdam household, huh? Huh? Oh, you'll have to ask the missus about that. Stephanie's grounded to the wedding. Can't have her changing her mind at the last minute. Not with all that meat at stake. Meat is the foundation of any decent society. Everyone needs at least 3 servings of red meat a day. And anyone who says otherwise is a commie. And once you're married to Stephanie, I'll be part of the family too. And your father will give me all the meat I want. Kinda makes up for not getting into the lodge.
Why are you so anxious to get into the lodge?
There's wonders inside. I've heard there's more meat in there than they know what to do. Now that you're of age, Steve, you might go down to the post office and fill out a lodge application. They're always looking for new blood. Well, don't look at me. Mrs. Potsdam wants Stephanie to study hard for her finals. If it was up to me, you could go straight upstairs, but you know, the little woman, you'll have to ask her permission to see Stephanie. Sorry, Steve. The last thing I want to do is upset you and your father before the wedding. Not with the meat at stake. You will remind your dad about the meat, won't you?
I haven't seen my father. He's locked in a room. I hear him moaning, but that's all.
He's not going to die, is he?
Like I said, I don't know. That woman, Mom, tends to him herself.
Well, next time you see him, be sure to tell him that I said hello. And tell him that I'm praying for his speedy recovery. And also, would you remind him about the meat? Especially about the meat.
Yeah, fine. If I see him.
You should be more concerned. If he dies, then who's going to take over the slaughterhouse? Who's going to tend to the meat? I guess as his son, you'd take over. Right? I can't imagine a better job than working in a slaughterhouse. Sure, it'd be just dandy. And you can't argue with success. Everyone in Harvest gets their meat from your dad. What a grand business to go into. Oh, sure, cutting animals open may not be much fun. Reaching into their bodies and yanking out the bloody guts, intestines dangling and slapping against you, the smell of death and shit in your nostrils all the time. Well, those are all definite cons. But once you're done, the guts have been washed into the gutters. What are you left with? Meat. Rows and rows of scrumptious red meat.
Hello, Steve. Have you flossed today? Honestly, you men can insult a woman without even knowing you've done it. What a horrible thing to say.
You're both standing around baking cookies. Same cut of dress. Same pearls. So bizarre.
There's nothing bizarre about baking cookies. The Harvest Charity Bake Sale is Friday, you know, and by gosh, Mrs. Marvin Potsdam Jr. can be counted on to do her share.
This charity bake sale, what is it supposed to benefit?
Oh, I just like talking about gruesome subjects. When you get right down to it, all charity is pretty ugly, isn't it?
I don't follow.
Ask Mr. Moynihan. He's organized this event.
In conjunction with the lodge, naturally. Mr. Moynihan runs the Wayward Hotel and the Shady Oaks Funeral Parlor. It's rumored he has connections with the lodge, but the order keeps that kind of thing secret. So Mr. Poston has tried to get him to put in a good word for his lodge application, but so far... You mustn't be too hard on Mr. Poston, Steve. He's a disappointed man. No matter how many lodge admission forms he fills out, they keep turning him down. He has a new application in, though, so keep your fingers crossed. If he joins the lodge, you and Stephanie can have your wedding in the Chapel of Love, rather than over at Moynihan's place.
Tell me about this wedding.
Well, it's set for 3 weeks. We're holding it over at Shady Oaks, Mr. Moynihan's funeral parlor.
Say what?
Now, I know it's not a very romantic place, but there's nowhere else to hold it, thanks to Mr. Poston. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Give my regards to your parents. Hello, dear. Come to see Stephanie, have you? She's upstairs. Go right on up. Just remember, she's grounded until the wedding. Give my regards to your parents.
Who are you? What are you doing in my room?
Haven't you heard? We're getting married.
So, you're the one. Steve, isn't it?
You mean you don't know me?
I mean, I don't know anyone. I don't remember anything. How many times do I have to say it?
Just once, Stephanie, because I can't remember a damn thing either.
Really? Oh God, I thought it was just me.
You're not alone. Can you tell me what's going on here?
Those people downstairs have locked me in my room. They say I'm grounded until the wedding. They claim to be my parents. I can't dispute it because I can't remember for sure one way or the other, but it doesn't feel right. I believe you. Maybe some of these people believe you too. Maybe they're playing dumb.
Why?
Maybe they're responsible. Either way, something really weird is going on here. I've got to escape, and so do you. Because in a way, whether you know it or not, I think we're both grounded. It's been hell. They treat me well, but they won't let me leave this room. Not even to go out in the yard. Not until the wedding.
They won't tell you why?
Each one blames the other for grounding me. They make up different excuses. Different things I did, none of which I remember. So I sit up here, watch the world outside my window, and listen to the noises in the house. Every morning, a weird boy comes to the house and picks up the paper. He doesn't deliver the paper. He picks up scrap paper that Miss Potsdam sets out on the porch for him. Some mornings she forgets, and the boy gets furious. He gives me the creeps.
Anything else you can tell me?
I hear these weird scraping sounds in the bathroom sometimes. Like something is sliding along the wall. Claws, maybe. And Mr. Potsdam. I don't like the way my dear daddy looks at me. Both of them are always watching me. But especially him.
You don't think they're dangerous, do you?
I think this whole place is dangerous. I think we've got to escape. Before it's too late.
Escape?
Harvest is a prison, Steve. Don't forget that. Of course I'm right. Maybe my amnesia isn't total after all. You're familiar to me. Like we've met before. In another life.
Maybe we really do live here. Maybe we were together, and the same thing happened to both of us. An accident. Something.
Neither of us has bumps on our heads, if that's what you're getting at.
Have you been able to remember anything else? I mean, anything at all?
Well, I have had these recurring dreams. Just fragments, really. Strange, abstract images. Liquid, chrome.
Probably just a dream.
Well, have you thought about how to escape Harvest? Come back and visit me soon, okay?
If it isn't my favorite son-in-law.
Why not go upstairs and talk to Stephanie? She didn't... Give my regards.
It's not often that I get visitors.
Are you the wasp woman?
I am Tetsuo Crumb. The ignorant of Harvest call me the wasp woman. A pejorative, no doubt, born of fear and a poverty of imagination.
I don't understand.
The politics of honey, the Judeo-Christian rites of sacrifice and conventional taboos against unbridled pleasure are all responsible for the prejudice against wasps. Yes, a great deal of pleasure. The wasp is a sensual being, not a laborer, hedonistic instead of industrial. Some think them quick to anger. In truth, they are easily swayed to ecstasy. They penetrate your flesh, and the muscular contractions in their thorax as they pump venom could be likened to the muscular contractions of ejaculation, each painful welt an act of love. Regard the wasp. Wasps produce nothing for others, but only for themselves. Wasps build nests and more wasps, nothing more. They spread into eaves and attics, not to make honey for supermarkets, but to buzz and rustle on their own paper, perpetuating their own agenda, growing stealthily, surely, the most relentless of insects. Innocent children, what better way to describe the wasp? Carefree, wild, beautiful things. If they wish to share their love with babies, or any of the rest of you ignorant hicks, that is not my concern.
Stephen.
Who are you?
I am Daniel Moynihan, mortician and proprietor of the Wayward Hotel.
Most people ask me why I don't remember their names.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Besides, as one who deals with the dead, I try not to involve myself in the affairs of the living. Your loss of memory is of no concern to me, true or false. Ironic, considering my recent involvement in a charity event.
What are you talking about?
My complaints were central to the scheduling of the upcoming Harvest Bake Sale. I'm gratified the Order of the Harvest Moon got involved. The proceeds will certainly help cover my losses. It seems that, like some elephant's graveyard, people of low station come to harvest to die. They simply drop dead, penniless, and they all need burials. God knows, by putting these people up at the Wayward Hotel, I do more than my fair share. So why must I pay for the coffins and burial materials as well? My losses to the dead are substantial. Hopefully the bake sale will offset some of them. This bake sale is a joint effort of the Harvest PTA and the Order of the Harvest Moon. The proceeds will be used to set up a fund for transients. In other words, bums and societal rejects without families, who wander into harvest uninvited.
Then, the Order is setting up shelters for the homeless?
Not shelters. Graves. You see a great number of these hobos die while passing through. Don't ask me why, it's what those people do. Use your common sense, Stephen, memory or no. If they were involved in setting up homeless shelters, then why would I be involved? And why would I be sustaining losses? As always, the Order of the Harvest Moon has taken the lead in addressing our societal ills. Through their sponsorship of the blood drive and the bake sale, the Lodge ensures that all our needs are met.
Needs? Such as?
Pardon me, there are corpses to prepare, and my losses have been substantial of late. If you're sincerely interested in the Order, however, you should stop by the Lodge and speak with the Sergeant-at-Arms.
Why should I be interested, Mr. Moynihan?
Of all the spots in Harvest, the Lodge is the most prominent, literally and figuratively. It is the ambition of everyone here to join, and join you must to attain wisdom.
What kind of wisdom?
If I knew, I'd be a member. I have the feeling you have what it takes to join the Order, Stephen. We all believe that. Whether or not you live up to your potential is up to you. I'd say it's been a pleasure, but I find the company of the living so wearisome. You can't have that, Stephen. I need it for my work. And may I say you're a rude young man for attempting to steal it.
I was only going to borrow it.
Indeed. And have you anything I could hold as security?
Security? Like what? Money?
I'm afraid that's not good enough. I need that glue for my work. You must present me with something significant if you'd have me part with it.
Please excuse the mess. They've done wonders with the upstairs bedroom, but this garage defies color coordination.
I don't converse on the job, Steve.
Don't bother me, I'm sketching. Oh, look what you made me do!
Hello, Steve. Welcome to the House of Flame, as we like to call it. Oh, cut it out, Spots, honestly. Once he gets barking, a good piece of meat is the only way to shut him up. There you go, Spot. So, Steve, bet you don't remember me. Heard about that short in the old wiring. I'm Fire Marshal Sparky, head of your fire department. Please, it's not the subject, it's the process. Don't be such a party pooper, Steve. We're talking about art. Besides, we haven't had a fire in Harvest since the newspaper building burned down. Though I'll admit that the Wasp Woman's place is one big accident waiting to happen. Isn't that right, Spots? Art enriches the community, Steve. No less than a pulsing fire hose, or a fireman beating down a blazing door. So what if we're drawing a nude man? So what if all we ever draw is a nude man, or the same nude man over and over in all sorts of provocative positions? Context, not content. Process, not subject. Don't be so ghosty, it's beneath you. A dreadful affair. You wouldn't think that a brick and steel building with a sprinkler system could go up that quickly. Oh, please. Dwayne was glad enough to see the thing go up, and so was McKnight. If you could get into that safe in his wall... Forget it. Look, Steve, as far as I know, the fire was an accident. Let's just leave it at that. Now don't you go moving. Some people think all we do is sit around, fetching examples of manhood for our own amusement. Nothing could be further from the truth. Why, just the other day we cited Tetsuo Crumb for fire code violations. All the dried-out paper wasp nests clustered around her wooden house. Why, it's a chem log just waiting for the right faggot. Believe me, none of us wants to see another fiasco like the Sentinel fire. Bye-bye.
I don't converse on the job, Steve.
Hello, Steve. Let me introduce myself. I'm Sheriff Dwayne, and this here is Loomis.
Pleasure, I reckon.
Then, we haven't met before?
Of course we have, but I heard about your alleged amnesia and figured I'd play along. I sure hope this is just a prank, and not the start of some insanity plea. Keep your nose clean, or you'll wind up in jail, and that's no place to hold a wedding. Why do you want to break your poor mama's heart with all this amnesia bunk?
I'm telling you the truth. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you've always been a kidder, Steve.
Yeah, so everybody keeps telling me.
Boy, you need to stop all this funning and get serious. You've got a wedding coming up soon. Heck, you should be thinking about your career and about joining the lodge. I don't mind telling you, I'd never get anything done if not for the lodge's efforts. To join the Order of the Harvest Moon is the highest dream of everyone in Harvest. Like I said, unless you get an application on the first day of the month, you're generally out of luck. Stop by the post office and talk to Postmaster Boyle. You never know. He might have a spare application laying around. Amnesia or no, you can't have forgotten you're about to marry the prettiest little thing in Harvest. I think you and Stephanie are perfect for each other. I just hope her father's disappointment doesn't spoil everything.
Disappointment?
Mr. Potsdam wants to hold the wedding in the lodge, but he'll never get in. Like all the rest, he's always hanging around the post office the first day of the month, waiting for Boyle to bring out that month's lodge applications. And there's always a long line, never enough applications to go around, and even if you do get an application, chances are you're right out of luck. Fewer called to the order and even less accepted. And Potsdam, well, they've turned him down so many times, unless he does something radical, he'll never get in. Crime-wise, nothing much has happened in Harvest since the newspaper fire. Oh, sure, every week or so we get the odd transient dropping dead, but other than that, it gets pretty slow around here. Sure, you remember. The Sentinel building burned down about 6 months ago.
That's what I'm telling you, Sheriff. I don't remember anything. Why won't you believe I have amnesia?
Well, you've all...
But we found the gas can that was you.
Loomis, that's classified. Darn it.
How many times you gonna have to tell me to keep my mouth shut, I wonder? Sorry, boss.
You've got the gas can in the evidence room? Did you dust it for prints?
You've been watching too much TV, Steve. Heck, who can make out all those curvy lines anyhow? No, it's sitting in there gathering dust, clean as the day we found it. Just in case I ever need a spare gas can. That case is closed, Steve. Loomis here is my deputy. Without him, I'd have a hard time keeping the peace, or at least taking a lunch break. Mainly Loomis answers the phone and babysits the office while I'm out, though sometimes he likes to go in the back and stain the jail mattress. Isn't that right, Loomis?
Oh, now, Sheriff, what you gotta go and say that for?
Loomis has more than his share of problems. I wouldn't invite him to the wedding. Or if you do, make sure he doesn't catch the garter. That could be embarrassing.
Oh, I wouldn't do nothing, Dwayne. But I sure would like a little garter that'd been around Stephanie's thigh. Oh, well, that'd be right special.
Stop on by any time, Steve.
Stay tuned, buckaroos. There's more to come on Range Riders Cowboy Roundup. So don't go away. And what's your name, hombre?
Steve.
Steve's a swell name. My dog's name is Steve. Would you like my autograph, Steve? Here you go, then. Violence? What about it? Violence is as American as apple pie and low SAT scores. Where would we be right now if the cowboys hadn't gone out west and butchered innocent people to steal their land? Answer me that, Mr. Know-It-All.
But what about studies that have shown that children become more violent when watching violence?
Buckaroo, I rip the guts out of godless heathen Injuns. Most kids don't see godless heathen Injuns on a regular basis, and if they do, they better either get their eyes checked or do like old Range Rider and shoot the bejesus out of them, lest they want to go untreated for psychotic hallucinations, or wind up with their scalps hanging from a buckskin belt. Oh, shit! Ow! Shit on a stickaroo! The parents that are griping about violence on TV are the same parents that go outside in the morning to fetch their papers, secure in the knowledge that they won't get an arrow through the noodle because the violence they hate so much done cleared the engines out of the neighborhood.
Yeah, civilization has benefited from violence. But should violence be treated as entertainment?
Check my rating, son. Violence is entertainment. I just put it on the air. If some kid watches, that says something about the kid, not me. Now, excuse me, we're going back on the air. Can't talk now, Booker. Violent. What red-blooded American doesn't? Nothing like an exploding head to get the blood pumping. Literally, that is.
Even so, do you think society pays a heavy price for the violence in the media?
Of course they pay a heavy price. Just look at the net profits. They'll line up around the block to see a good slaughter. Now, excuse me, we're going back on the air.
Steve, good of you to drop by, big guy. Haven't seen you since graduation. A lot of changes, I hear.
You could say that.
Good, good. That's a nice part of my job, turning fine young men and women out into the world, and then watching them prosper. Of course, I was able to reach more people at the old Sentinel, God bless her. But then again, I never got to see the results of my work up close before.
Who are you?
You know very well I'm Mr. Harold, the principal of Gain Memorial. Steve, I've heard about this amnesia nonsense. I had hoped you'd be in the lodge by now, fine young fellow like yourself. But now, I think maybe you need a little more quality time.
What do you mean, quality time?
Some, like Miss Whaley, favor stern discipline, corporal punishment, as a means of socialization. Myself, I temper discipline with love. Quality time can be such a warm, sharing experience. After just a few sessions, you'd stop this amnesia nonsense and become a productive member of society and a fit candidate for the lodge. Big guy, barring some quality time, the greatest gift I can bestow upon you as your former principal is a word of advice. Join the Order of the Harvest Moon at any cost. Within the lodge lies your future, and without dust.
Why do you keep calling me big guy?
A sign of respect, lad. As principal, my station is higher than yours now, but you never know what the future holds, so you should always hedge your bets and pay tribute to your inferiors. You never know who will come to power, or who, even now, wields it behind the scenes. For all I know, you might already be a member of the Order, with access to the lodge. If that were the case, you'd be my superior, and I'd be all that much better off having shown you respect and spent some quality time with you. Drop in again soon. Adult education is a wonderful thing, as is adult quality time.
My goodness, class, this is Stephen. He used to be a student here at Gein Memorial. Say hello, class. They're reticent. The educator's gravest problem today is the apathy of the students.
What's wrong with their heads?
I can tell you in one word, Stephen. Discipline. Thank goodness you weren't a sulky bear. You were always a smiley bear.
Then you remember me?
Not as such. So many pupils, Stephen. They come and they go. But I can always spot those who were nice boys. You can tell from the forehead. The lobes, right, class? I'm glad you stopped by, Stephen. Would you care to say a few words to the class about civic responsibility?
Not really. I was just passing through.
Oh, but you must, Stephen. A positive role model might be just the thing to inspire these little monsters. Stephen, have you any questions for me? Or shall I continue with class? Ask away then. We don't practice corporal punishment here. I've never believed in that old adage, spare the rod and spoil the child. A rod is too thin, but a baseball bat? That bridges the generation gap quite nicely. Oh dear, Colonel Monroe is conducting another air raid drill. Everyone into the hallway, quick!
If an A-bomb hits, what good is it gonna do to duck and cover?
My stars, that was exciting.
This lodge, what do you know about it?
The building itself, like Harvest, was constructed with a specific purpose in mind. That noble intent is known only to those within the Order. You're at about the right age to join them, Stephen, and you will do so if you care about your future.
Can you tell me anything about Harvest?
Harvest was founded by the Order of the Harvest Moon about 100 years ago.
For what purpose?
Why, I'm sure you'd have to ask them. You'll find the members of the Order at the lodge. Stop by any time, Stephen.
Steve, how's your father? Is he better?
About the same, I guess.
He's been away from work for weeks, and when I call your house, your mother won't let me talk to him.
I haven't seen him either.
This is a fine kettle of fish, I must say, though I am glad to see you taking an interest in the business in your dad's absence.
Who are you?
Aw, Steve, I didn't want to believe that amnesia hokum. Now you're saying you don't remember your pal Pat O'Reilly? What exactly is wrong with your dad?
I don't know. I can't get in to see him. Look, I'm not kidding about the amnesia. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you always were such a kidder, Steve.
Funny how that's beginning to sound like a stock answer. Like it was coached.
You sure are acting like a kidder, son. With your dad ill, you're gonna need to start behaving like an adult, especially if you're gonna take over the family business. You may come to realize that this business is not for everybody. Just ask your poor, ill dad. It takes dedication and a strong stomach. A lot of times, when I'm finished scrubbing up and digging the bits of intestine out from my fingernails, I must confess I don't have much appetite for red meat. But red meat is one of the principal food groups, and you've got to have it. So when you can do this all day and help yourself to a juicy red steak afterwards, then by golly, you can call yourself a butcher. Of course, amnesia would certainly help that, wouldn't it?
Come to think of it, I don't see any cattle around here. Where do you keep the animals?
Does it matter? The end product is all the customer cares about, Steve. And we only carry the finest meat, only the juiciest cuts. Once you take over the business, you'll realize the importance of maintaining quality while cutting costs. We know what we're doing here, Steve. If we didn't, would the lodge use us to cater their affairs? Your father's very particular about the profit, Steve. No freebies for anyone. But seeing how you're his son, if you'll bring written permission from your father, I'll give you the meat. There are certain tricks of the trade, Steve. Once your dad gets better and you start working in here cutting up the meat, you'll be privy to them. There's always cheaper, better ways to do things, if you're creative. Don't be such a stranger, Steve, and my best to your dad.
Hi, what's your name?
Karen,
What are you doing?
playing. My mom is working, so I gotta stay out of her hair. Wanna play?
Not now, maybe later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Hello there, Steve. Here for lunch?
No, just here looking around, though I'm not entirely sure where here is.
Oh, I forgot. You're playing your little amnesia prank. Well, boy, this is DNA's Diner. Isn't that right, Edna?
Don't listen to Sheriff Twain. This is Edna's Diner. But ever since the E burned out on the sign, they've been giving me a hard time.
Now, don't be like that, Edna. It's a great place to eat, which is good, since it's the only place to eat in Harvest. I understand you witnessed Miss Whaley's dispensing a little discipline at the school, and she thinks you may be feeling a mite bent about it. You need to forget about it, boy. I don't interfere in school discipline. I leave that to the professionals. And so should you. Heck, there isn't a psychiatrist around who'd disagree about what a calming influence a dent in the head can be. You can't argue with science, Steve. It's bigger than all of us. Stop on by any time, Steve.
Oh, Steve, what are you doing, sneaking up on me like that? God, for a second I thought you were Mr. Johnson. What would you like to order? Well, you're in Edna's Diner. That ought to be your first clue.
I thought this was DNA's diner.
Very funny. If certain customers would stop pretending to have amnesia and order some food, maybe I could afford to get that sign fixed. Might even be able to buy enough extra letters to spell Fitzpatrick.
I'm not pretending.
Now, Steve, faking amnesia won't help anything. If you don't want to marry Stephanie, then don't. But don't play sick, for heaven's sake. I'd expect that from Karen, not an 18-year-old. You've met Karen, my 8-year-old. Other than the diner, she's all I have. Mr. Johnson has a liking for me. I'd call it a crush, but that's too innocent a word. He's a bitter man with too much time on his hands. He's never gotten over being rejected by the lodge, and there's something unwholesome in the way he looks at me. I'm always glad when the sheriff comes in every day at noon. The lodge is the repository of all wisdom. You should join the Order of the Harvest Moon, Steve, and soon.
Why? For God's sake, what is it about this place?
The wheat ripens and waits not for the scythe. The farmer who waits too long, it were better that he used the scythe to rip his own stomach out than to stay his scythe when the wheat ripens. The harvest moon wanes and then comes winter. An empty belly, the body sun's belly, gurgling within or bloody on the ground. What does it benefit a man if he gains his soul and loses the world? You hunger. Feed yourself before it's too late. Oh.
Edna?
Steve. What happened? Were we talking about Boyle? Or was it Karen?
You seemed strange there for a minute.
I'm sorry. I'm under a lot of stress. Running this diner all alone. Forgive me. Stop by anytime, Steve.
Anything I can help you with? Help yourself. Speaking of which, you're real lucky to be marrying Stephanie. She don't look like a good woman. I just hope she don't turn out like Mrs. Loomis, or mercy forbid Mrs. Phelps. Good women can be awful hard on a man's needs, don't you know? Why, you sure ought to appreciate what a man's gotta do sometimes in a parked car, or a waist-high knothole in a tree, or jail cell at noon. Matter of fact, Mrs. Phelps got no reason not to sell you some of them French postcard girly picture books. If you can get any, you see clear to part with them. Bring them round when the sheriff's at lunch and I'd be obliged. Of course, I don't necessarily mean French postcards. That's just what we called them in my day. Any kind of girly picture book, the kind men like, would be just dandy. I'd be right grateful, kiddo, if you were to bring me one. Mrs. Phelps down at the general store don't help things none. She's got them special picture books, the one with the ladies. But she won't sell me none on account of she knows my wife, Mrs. Loomis. Dadgum if that don't burn my britches. If I even ask about 'em, she tells Mrs. Loomis and I get the broom. Enough to break a man's heart, her burning my French postcards and me unable to replace them. A man's got needs, don't you know? Any time, kiddo. Oh, by George. Oh, by Jiminy. Oh, this here's the real thing. Oh, can I have it? Oh, thank you, Steve. Excuse me, kiddo. I gotta go check the jail for clean towels.
Hello, Steve. Where's Loomis?
You'll be coming around the mountain if you come. Oh, that's it.
Loomis, damn you!
Wait, no.
You pervert!
No!
Straining up the mattress again! Folding up the towels! Charming snake!
No!
Hey, Sport. This is a private office.
Yeah, I know, Mr.
McKnight. I own and operate this station. Have you brought me some news for tonight's broadcast, or...
I've lost my memory. That's news.
The hell it is! You always were a kidder, Steve. Any real news to tell me?
Actually, I was just wanting to know more about the TV station.
Hey, WHAR is the only television station in Harvest. Since the old Sentinel went under, what with the newspaper building burning down and all, we're golden. Nobody competes with us, Sport. Hey now, Sport, that's an irresponsible allegation. I had nothing to do with that fire. Just because WHAR may have benefited from it and I danced on the ashes a little, doesn't mean I torched the place. You can ask Sheriff Dwayne if you have any doubts.
You seem awfully touchy on the subject, Sport.
I'm touchy when people try to muscle their way into my business. I'd appreciate it if you'd leave my office and don't come back. If you don't get out of here right now, I'm having you arrested for trespassing. Oh, man.
My button. Why, I lost that months ago. Where did you find it?
Funny thing, that. I found it in the ashes. At the newspaper building.
What are you implying? That I had something to do with setting the fire? Preposterous. Why, 100 people must have visited that site since the fire. And what if I did? I guess I'd be pretty grateful to anyone who could help get me off the hook.
How?
You seem like a capable lad. Hypothetically, let's say there was a gas can sitting in the evidence room at the sheriff's office. A gas can which might have some incriminating prints on it. Someone might be very grateful for the return of that gas can. Say, grateful enough to provide whoever returned it with a lodge application. Oh, and Steve, you'll keep this to yourself, if you're smart. Sorry, son, no time to talk. Neither rain nor sleet nor snow nor hell shall keep the mail from its appointed rounds. Next time you post. What does this mean? This is unexpected and awkward. But my luck's been bad ever since Dwayne found that darn gas can at the newspaper building the day after the fire. He has this insane notion that it's mine. I pay him not because I'm guilty, but because I don't want him slurring my good name around Harvest.
Oh, naturally.
You know, he keeps that gas can in the evidence room at his office. I'd be really grateful to whoever could fetch me that can. Grateful enough to provide him with a lodge application. Oh, and Steve, you'll keep this to yourself, if you're smart. What does this mean? That's an interesting item, but the fact that you asked me that question proves you know nothing. You don't know what you're doing, and I'm not going to tell you. So you might as well forget about this, or better yet, take it to the sheriff and see what it gets you. Sorry, son, no time to talk. Neither rain nor snow. Next time you post. Oh my God, I can't believe it. After all this time.
Where's my application, Boyle?
Here, take it. With my thanks. You know, this morning as I was making my rounds, I noticed an awful lot of television aerials on the roofs. Seems like more and more each day. You got me this can just in time, youngster. I may have need of it again.
What do you mean?
There's another reason why Sheriff Dwayne didn't investigate the Sentinel fire. If you'd like to get something else on the blackmailing bastard, check around the television station. While you still can.
Now, where did you get these, Steve? That's a felony, boy. I could lock you up for that.
But you won't, because Boyle burned down the newspaper building, and I've got proof that you've been blackmailing him to keep it quiet.
Yeah, but you see, boy, you brought the originals here with you. You see your mistake? When you're gonna blackmail somebody, you don't bring the goods with you. What's to stop me from taking them away and killing you right now? You know, boy, I just don't believe you. If you were that smart, you'd have shown me the copies, not the originals. No, sir. I think I'll just have to take my chances.
Somebody help me! What do you people want from me?
Too late for that, boy. Ain't it, Sergeant?
Indeed it is, Sheriff. Answers may only be found in the lodge, and you must be alive to seek them.
Now, that's a felony, boy. I could lock...
But you won't.
Uh-huh. All right. You've got me, boy. Tell you what, I'd give you one of Sheriff Dwayne's custom deluxe get-out-of-jail-free cards. That is, if I catch you doing something, I'll look the other way. Once. That's the deal. How about it? All right. Just bring me the originals, and we'll close the deal. Sorry, boy. I never conduct business over lunch. Catch me. Stop on. So, you brought him after all, did you?
That's right. And you said something about a get-out-of-jail-free card?
Yeah. But can you give me a good reason why I shouldn't just kill you right now and take them back? Yeah, you did it up right, Steve. Guess my best play is to pay up. And next time I catch you for something, I owe you one. And no hard feelings.
That's a ticket.
I see you've managed to acquire an application that demonstrates resourcefulness, a desirable trait for prospective members. You need a rest. Report back here for your next assignment.
Welcome to our order.
The hand that grips the life of the staff.